What's up? We are in the stew with one of my dear friends, someone I love with all of my heart, someone I've known since he was a young boy,
Mm.
and now he's a very mature young man. He's a coach at the California All Stars in Ontario, former athlete at the California All Stars Ontario, and former athlete at the California All Stars Livermore on Black Ops. One of my most proud moments as a coach, seeing him on that team and on the floor. The one, the only Noah Gonzales. Welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. I'm honored.
I'm so excited. And the first thing I want to talk about, I mean, maybe not talk about, but just congratulate you on is your recent, I know it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, but your recent NCAA championship with the legendary Callie Crystal. A couple things, and I want you to talk about it also, but I'm going to start off first and foremost, the return of Callie Crystal. Callie Crystal's not been a team for 2 or 3 years. It's been a while. It's been on a hiatus, but Callie Crystal is and you'll probably know the numbers a little bit better than me, but I believe 4 or 5-time UCA champion.
Oh,
And
I want to say like 7.
is it? I'm sorry. I was thinking consecutive, but I think you're
Oh,
probably
like
right.
yeah,
It's probably
consecutive.
6 or 7 UCA titles, but I believe it was either a 4-peat or a 5-peat for UCA,
Yes,
and then also it was either a 3-peat or a 4-peat for Summit.
3-peat. Yeah,
Three-peat for Summit. So
yeah,
an absolutely legendary team, and then you take them, first of all, bringing them back, which is huge, and then you take them to NCAA for the first time ever taking Callie Crystal to NCAA, and they come away with a NCAA national championship title. So congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you. It was just such a full circle moment, and just everything leading up to that was just truly the work was worth it, and those kids truly deserve it. And I'm just very proud and humbled, and just to be one of their coaches, like it's just crazy to me. But I'm I was very excited, so excited, so over
Yeah.
the moon about it.
Well, I want to talk about your whole experience in cheerleading, how you got started and all that, and we'll probably start with that. But then I want to get right into talking about Crystal and kind of what that whole situation means. But before we do get into all that, for anybody that doesn't know, introduce yourself, how long you've been cheering, how long you've been coaching, where you've cheered at, what levels. Just kind of give us your whole cheer resume, so to speak.
Oh God. Okay. So my name is Noah Gonzales. I've been cheering for 13 years, 12, 13 years. I started out doing, Pop Warner for like 2 or 3 years. And then I cheered at Starlight All Stars for 2 years, go back all the way to them. And then I started at Cali when I was 13, and I was on Sable. I was on Onyx. I got the opportunity to be on Crystal for like 3 weeks, going to the summit with them. And then I was on Blue Crew for 2 years. And then my super senior year, my last year as an athlete, I was on Black Ops. So yeah, a lot of teams and a lot of memories that everything's coming back to me now. But yeah.
Yeah, dude. So and such a cool story. We've talked about, you and I have talked about many times. We started at Cali, Ontario, and what that was like. I mean, I've always thought that when you and I talked that first time, I thought you were kind of kissing my butt because you were in Domo's tumbling class,
Yeah.
and it was either right before or right after the class. I was like, hey, do you want to cheer here? And you were like, yeah, I do. And I was like, what team do you want to be on? Now, for those at home that that aren't aware, in Cali, Ontario, we had, Crystal, Slate, Sable. I don't know if we had Eclipse up to that point. I don't think we did at that point.
No.
But we had Crystal, Platinum, Slate, Sable, and then Onyx, and I believe
Midnight.
we had Midnight, but I don't remember if it was restricted 5 or if it had gone to be a
I think
world
that was the
team.
last year they were restricted.
Well, anyway, so we had
Yeah.
we had higher level teams and we had higher age teams, right? We
Yeah.
had, Sable was level 4, so was Onyx, but Onyx was the senior co-ed 4. And so when I asked you what team you want to be on, and you said Sable, I'm like, dude, this kid's just kissing up to me because I coached the junior co-ed 4, Adam coached the senior co-ed 4, and so when you said Sable, I'm like, dude, this guy's just kissing my butt, whatever. But I was so elated to hear that answer. I think I told you I was like, good answer,
Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that. But yeah, and then the next year you made it on Sable, and man, what a great season. We had 2 seasons of undefeated regular season, And then, of course, that which we can talk about it. We can talk
Yeah,
about it.
we can talk
We can
about it.
talk about it.
We're still heard about it. It's
Yeah,
fine.
I'm not okay.
No,
In looking back on it, we've also talked about this many times. Like the high to high full rounds. I mean,
no,
they were not solid. They
no.
bobbled. Not all of them were at the top. It's like I get it. I don't think we deserved to win. Um, but I think something could be said for the mix up of the
Yes,
placement of California All Stars Junior four
yes.
teams. Because I'll sit to this day and I'll take it to the grave. To the grave, we should have been in
Uh,
second place, but it's all right. You know what? We didn't win, and that's really the thing. It's like, yeah, we
I
weren't the
mean,
best. We weren't the
we
best. But
we live and we learn.
2 years back to back undefeated regular seasons.
Yes,
Sable was also a team that did a three-peat at UCA.
yes.
And then, similar, I didn't even realize this until just now talking out loud, Sable going to NCAA for the first time was also NCAA champions. What a cool
I, you want to know
coincidence.
something funny?
Yeah.
I actually thought about that too. So that was the first year Sable was small. This is one of the first years Crystal was small.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. So
Yep,
undefeated at UCA, that we go to NCAA, we're like, let's try this out, and we walk
yep,
away champs. Look at that.
yep.
Holy cow. What a cool story.
Yeah.
Okay. So, like I said, I do wanna talk about Crystal first, and kind of peel the curtain back a little bit and give everybody, you already mentioned you were on Crystal, for a few weeks to win your first or second summit title.
My only summit
Your
title.
only summit title. Oh, so you didn't win with Starlight.
Nope.
I don't know why. I always thought you won with Starlight.
They won like 2 years before I came.
Okay.
So yeah,
All right. Well, I want to talk about Crystal. I want to talk about what made that such a special experience. Obviously you coaching the team, but what made it so special being a coach? Can you
yeah,
let everybody know,
yeah.
pretend like you're not talking to me, pretend like you're talking to somebody that has no idea, but why does Crystal mean so much to you? And why does this season and that championship
Yeah.
mean so much to you?
So going into the season, like I knew I did the math, and it was Cali Ontario's 10th season, and so leading up to it, it was also Crystal's 10th season as a team. So even before tryouts, like I begged Adrian, I was like, "Can we please bring Crystal back?" And he was like, if we have the talent at tryouts, like sure, like we're not just gonna have them just to have them as a team. And I was like, sure, I get it. So tryouts come around, and we get this like great showing of level one kids with beautiful black walkovers, straight legs, pointed toes, beautiful front walkovers, and everything. And I literally remember, like, I looked at him and I was like, it's happening. Like, Crystal's coming back. And so I want to say, like, the next day, I, I called Taji and Dre. I group FaceTime them. And, they are the old coaches of Crystal who did all that. And so I called them and I was like, hey, so I kind of want to bring Crystal back. Like, can I get your blessing? And they were like, of course, like, we fully trust you. Like, we love you. We believe in you. Like, you do it. You got it. And so, the first, and I told them the whole story. Like, it's Crystal's 10th year. I want to do a theme honoring, their 10th year anniversary and do a routine basically with iconic moments from previous years and iconic music moments. And um, so, yeah, they were like, you can do this, you got it. And I was like, okay, like pressure is on, but okay. So, going into this season, I knew like it was just, I didn't want to put the pressure on me, but, coaching such a legacy team, like it's obviously already there. And so I told the kids, like, our first practice, I told them like the assignment. I was like, this is the first time Crystal's a team in 2 years, and it's actually like a special moment because it's the 10th year. And I told them, the season's not going to be easy, but I truly believe that we have the talent for this team and the talent to uphold the legacy. And so, um, I'll backstory that. In 2019, I had the opportunity to be on Crystal for the summit, and that was just so much fun. And I've always had a love for level one, the creative aspect of it, because you're just so limited, obviously, to do things. So that's where coaches and choreographers have to get, with the creative aspect of it. And so backstory, in 2014, when Crystal's first year as a team, Um, they were that was the last time they were small senior one, and this year we're small senior one. So in 2014, Crystal got second at the summit, and the team that beat them was Starlight Legacy, my old team and gym that I competed at the summit for the very first time in the small senior one division. So yeah,
Wow. Look
yeah,
at
it's
that.
just a full circle moment for me.
Yeah. Lots of dots that connect on that. That's huge. And
Yeah,
it's great. There's a lot of things about, all the things you dove into that are great. First and foremost, great leadership by Adrian kind of saying, "Hey, like we're not just going to say we're having Crystal just to
yeah,
say we're having Crystal."
yeah,
I know a lot of um I think a lot of fans of cheerleading want that, like, oh, bring back this team or bring back this team. I
right,
mean, even this year, fans were upset when Steel went medium co-ed,
right,
right, or when Revs went medium co-ed or whatever. The reality is, like, we as coaches and directors and owners, it's like you make the team based on what comes in the door.
exactly,
You don't just say, hey, we're going to have this team, and then you just hope to fill those spots.
right,
And so that's great leadership. And then, it's also great that it ended up happening. That just coming to
right,
fruition that, God, the universe, whoever you want to give credit to, provided the athletes to have the team,
right,
and then the way that it orchestrated itself and worked itself out to be a small senior for the first time in 10 years, being the 10-year anniversary of the team and the location and all those great, it's so many cool moments. Also,
right,
what's super cool is, Taji and Dre giving their blessing for that, because that was their baby.
right,
That was Taji and Dre's baby. And Taji's coached you on several teams at several
right,
levels, so I'm sure that was super important to
yeah,
you to, have him as part of that conversation. And man, that's so cool. That's so cool. And there's even layers to that I wasn't even aware of. So
yeah,
yeah, that's super cool. That's very, very
yeah,
cool.
yeah. So just this whole season has just been very heartwarming, and just we're not even done yet, but we have one
Right.
more month and one more push. So praying that the summit goes in our hands. So
Yeah, we're close though. I mean, I saw you posted earlier today or yesterday. It's like only 24 days
20,
until
yeah,
20. That's what. Yeah,
20,
20. Woo! That's crazy.
yeah. Then
That's
we do it
crazy.
all over again.
Right? Holy cow. Okay, so now take me through something that I'm very interested to hear is two things. And maybe I'll just hold off on the second part of the question so you can focus on the first part. But
Right.
tell me the different coaches that you've had, if you can remember all of them. Tell me all the different coaches you've had through your cheerleading career and anything that was similar with them, but definitely like what was different and what you took away from those coaches.
Right. Okay. So definitely my Starlight coaches, they are the ones that, I if you've ever like watched me perform, like I perform. And so they are the ones that kind of just like brought that out of me. And Renee and Justine Gonzalez, I think you know who they are. They cheered at Cali, and Renee was on co-ed in 2011 and 2012, I believe.
Yep.
And so they were Cali athletes, and so they brought that Cali, performance style to their own gym. And I feel like they were definitely they brought that out of me like no other coach has. And I feel like with them, I feel like they they kind of remind me of Taji with like their energy, very
Mm.
passionate, very just what's the word? Extra, flamboyant. That's the word.
Yeah, there you go.
um, and so I think with them, they truly taught me how to perform, and they taught me how to get that out of my athletes as well. Um, and Taji also has a big part of that as well. With you, I think, yeah,
Was
we
that
get into
your second coach? Or well, I guess third, but like you had only gone from Renee and Justine to
yeah
oh
to
wow.
to you and Taji.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um, with you, I just feel like you're so invested in the kids' lives, and you just truly bring the best out of them. And you just create these relationships that, especially like when I cheered, like every single person I cheered with on Blue Crew, like we all still talk about you to this day, and we all just cherish the moments that we had. They weren't truly the best of seasons, but you know, um, we don't care about the wins. Like we think about all the memories that we had. That was during COVID. We were there almost every day at the gym, and we saw each other every day. And you brought that out of us, and you taught us truly how to love each other. And uh, that's like what I want to relate to my kids too, is like, I don't care if you get along, but like on the mat, like you truly have to. And so, yeah, that's something that I've always admired and loved about you. Um, with Adam, I feel like he is just so like technically like educated on everything, and he knows the score sheet from top to bottom. And I even asked him to the say like, hey, like this year I've asked him a lot of questions, and he's just so like educated on cheerleading, and I love it, and he's so passionate. And I honestly wish I was coached by him more than 1 year, but that was his last year at Ontario. And yeah, that's Adam. But who's next? Netta and Mike.
There
Mike
we
and Netta.
go. Yeah.
The two most hard hardworking, most passionate coaches that I've ever had. And same with them. I wish I was coached by them for more than 1 year, but that experience on Black Ops, like that is something that I'll cherish for the rest of my life. And I truly want to say this to everyone, like if you have the opportunity to be coached by them, like do it, because they push you past limits that you think you can't be pushed past, and they get it out of you one way or another, and they give you the hardest stunt in cheerleading, and they put full faith and trust that you can do it, and you somehow can. You somehow can. I don't know how, but they, yeah, they're great. I love them.
No themes, no gimmicks.
No themes, no gimmicks. Yep.
Yeah, Mike and Netta they are, first of all, an incredible set of individuals
Yes.
that happen to coach cheerleading.
Yes.
It's like there's some people like I'm like, thank God for cheerleading, because if it wasn't for cheerleading, like I don't know if I would have had direction, to go or do anything else. With the same passion, the same fire,
Mm-hmm.
the same love that I have. And it's like, it truly is like, thank God for cheerleading for me.
Yeah.
But then you meet people like Mike and Netta, and you're like, thank God Mike and Netta found cheerleading,
Right.
because they would, regardless of what they were doing, regardless of what they were involved in, they would find a way to make the absolute best out of everyone in their environment.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter what it is.
Yes.
It could be another sport, it could be some sort of other business endeavor, like a car dealership. But like I can just envision them being music teachers and just having like, oh, this is the best orchestra that's ever existed because
Yes.
it's being directed by Mike and Netta.
Yeah.
They just have that ability to bring out the best of everyone around them, and
Mm-hmm.
even as a peer, as a coach. And the crazy thing is, I met Netta when she was like 15, 14 years old, when she was on Cali Coed. It was the first time I met her.
That's crazy.
Just this huge smile. And
Yes.
even, just like, hey, do you want to come try out for our team? I'm like, well, I'm like 23, but thank you so much. Like, I would love to be on your team, but I'm a little bit too old for your high school, club team. But, that, and I met her at, there was a competition that California All-Stars hosted in Carlsbad. I think it was called Battle at the Beach or something like that. But I went to that competition 2 years. 1 year it was bad. They had to stop like all full outs because the dew on the mat was the condensation on the mat. Because it was at the beach. It was like on the boardwalk. And the condensation, like people were just getting hurt. And after like 3 routines back to back of people getting hurt, they were like, hey, we're going to stop all tumbling for the day. They kept the competition going, but they didn't let anybody tumble. Yeah. So, and the announcer, whoever the MC was like, just imagine everybody has double fulls as they run across the floor. So it was a fun little thing. But yeah, but that was the first time I met Netta. And then Mike, I actually cheered with Mike. Mike was, a teammate of mine on the international team down in San Marcos, and being on a team with him, just it made you want to be better. There's certain people that make you want to be better because there's like a healthy level of competition, right? And I've always had those people. I'm sure you've always had those people like, oh, well, they're gonna do that, then I'm gonna do this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I have to. It's that one-upsmanship that, as long as you have a good foundation of friendship, like you can use that. I had that with a guy named Talon at Long Beach State, and even with John Cronin and Mike, I kind of put them in the same category where they were so positive, they just wanted to see you get better also, and you just wanted to be better by being around them.
Yeah.
And so for Mike and Netta to be together is like that's a lethal combo.
It is.
Woo! lethal
Yeah.
combo.
Yeah.
And they're
And
just
even,
great. Yeah, sorry, go
yeah.
ahead.
No, even like competing against Mike this season, Glamour and Swag, I'm like, okay, like let's do this. Like, but
Yeah.
yeah, there Mike has all the drills in every single category in cheerleading, and Netta has these ideas that just somehow go on the mat.
Yep. Yeah, they're unreal together. They're
Yeah,
unreal. I mean, they're
yeah,
unreal on their own, and the fact you just put them together, and it's like, dude, this
yeah,
is an unstoppable force.
yeah.
Unstoppable force. And I mean I got distracted by somehow talking about stories, but what I was trying to get to was like even as a peer, as a coach, being in the same room with them, like it makes me want to be a better coach.
Yes.
It's like again being a teammate with Mike made me want to be a better teammate. Meeting Netta and seeing the team that she was on made me want to be a California All Star, right? But then just being in the room with them, specific memories I have like American Grand 2 years ago.
Mhm.
Being in the room with them, watching them coach, Black Ops in that room. I think you were on that team. Were you on? I can't
No, I
remember.
think that was my first year coaching last
That's right.
season.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. It was last season. Yeah, like just being in the room with them and watching them run drills and run stunts. I'm
Yes.
like, dude, I just want to be a better coach. Guy, can I just hang out with you guys for a couple weeks and see if I could pick something up or like just absorb it? Yeah,
Yes.
they're great. That's
Yeah.
outstanding. Okay, so let's transition into your coaching.
Hmm.
So you went to Black Ops. You moved back home, right
Yeah.
from Northern California. Moved back home, going to school, doing all that stuff, being a responsible adult. But then you made the decision to come to the dark side and coach cheerleading.
Yes.
So
Yes.
walk me through. This is now your second year coaching or third year
Yeah.
coaching? Second year.
Second year.
Second year coaching. So first, take me through the thought process of like, I mean, you've been around it long enough. You know what goes into this. You know how torturous it can be. But
Hmm.
your thought process of like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
How did you arrive there? And then, is there anything that has shifted, changed, anything you've learned, just from your first year to your second year?
Yeah. All right. So I think just like the California All Stars as it is, like the first time you ever walk into that building is just full of just light and passion and just love around, and everyone just truly wants to be there. So I knew after ops, like my time as an athlete was pretty much done. If the opportunity comes, then sure I'll do it, but that's just not, I don't think, in my future. So I obviously still wanted to stay in cheerleading, and just truly all my coaches at Cali just truly have had just such a tremendous impact on me. And I just saw like as a coach, like especially my first year, like you love cheerleading differently, and you take your ego out of things and you no longer really do it for yourself. Like you do it for the kids, these 20 something kids on the floor that you have an obligation to because they have the same goals and aspirations that you once had. And so I think just knowing that I've had all this support over the years, like as an athlete, and I just truly wanted to be that for these kids as well. And, I coach 4 out of the 7 elite teams at Cali, Ontario. So it's a big obligation, but I just truly love it. And I knew like I didn't want to leave cheerleading behind. So I was like, give this a go. I'm going to give this a go. So I think just especially from last season to this season, I kind of just learned how to take my ego and I'm doing it for me out of the equation, and you're doing it for the kids now. And even to this day, like I'm still learning how to go out about certain situations as a coach. I'm still learning how to deal with injuries. I'm still learning how to have conversations with parents and just those little things. Like I'm still learning. And I kind of talked to Adrian about it a few weeks ago, and he was like, honestly, like you still learn every single year, like you do as a coach. And I was like, all right, so here it goes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's how life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
You're supposed to be continually learning how to do things a little bit better and learning, new ways to be patient, new ways to be
Right.
gracious, new ways to be generous, new ways to be disciplined. Because we as human beings are just evolving,
Hmm.
and of course, cheerleading is also evolving. It's so much every year, and not just in the superficial ways like, score sheet changes or rubric changes or whatever, but it's like the industry as a whole, shifts so much
Yes.
from year to year that it's like,
Yes.
if you're not changing too, it's like you're getting left in the dust.
Yes.
Yeah. And I think, and I want to kind of paraphrase what I think I heard you say is like you were given something through cheerleading, and
Yes.
now as a coach, like you want to pay that forward. You want to give
Yes.
that, give the gift that you were given. You want to
Yes.
give that to other people, and that's super cool. I think that's the story of a lot of great coaches, and I think there's a lot of great coaches out there that don't necessarily win all the titles, but they
No.
they do it for the right reasons, and they do it
Hmm.
because they want to enrich the lives of the younger generation and instill some qualities. And I think it's great. It warms my heart. No, I'm super proud of you.
Thank
I'm
you.
super proud of
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, so we went through the teams that you've cheered on. We went through the coaches that you've had. Went through you being a coach. But now let's dive into. You said you're coaching 4 of the 7 elite teams at Cali, Ontario. So tell us about those 4 teams. What teams they are. What divisions they're in. And let's start with something easy. Like, what are the differences in how you approach coaching those teams?
Right. So, Crystal, small senior one. Um, I think with them, um, I just put, I saw how Taji and Dre kind of coach them, and obviously I don't want to like, be like them, and I'm trying to figure out still that like I'm trying to still figure out how to not be like them. So I'm trying to put like all my passion into them, especially because I saw how they coach them, and they truly coach with passion and love.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Um, with Electric, they are small co at 3. They have had a pretty great season. They got second at NCAA. Leading up to NCAA, were undefeated. Um, with them, they were a hard bunch in the summer. They were the what's that saying? The little wagon that could,
A little engine that could.
the little engine that could. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
We
a book and a show that my children watch
oh,
often.
good.
Well, the book we read, the show we watch. Yeah,
Oh,
but
good.
yeah.
So they started out with 9 athletes in the summer. They were like that for I want to say until after Cali camp. We went to Cali camp with 9 athletes, and so after camp, the team just kept growing and growing. We now have 17. Um, with them, they're a young team, and so a lot of them are new to the program, and they're still. It took a lot out of us, get the energy up, and they really didn't get the Cali way until I want to say like right before American Grand. And so with them, we're just keep pushing and pushing them. Yeah, they're a great group of kids and very respectful. With Glamour, medium senior 4, going into that this season, we knew like that division's not easy. That division is not easy at all, and a lot of them are Cali returners, and they understand the assignment. And we told them the assignment like going into the season. They're such a fun group of girls, lots of energy, lots of, you know, just heart on that team, truly. And um, with them, we've just kind of stayed consistent. We've gotten, we won American Grand, and then for the past like 3 competitions, we've gotten second. So that's been just so fun. But, with them, they're just a ball of energy, and I just try to give same energy back to them.
Mm.
With Midnight, small co-ed 5, man, that team, they are truly one of my favorite group of kids I have ever met in my life. They have had so much happen throughout the season, with injuries, with people quitting, and you name it, like it happened to them. And
Mm-hmm.
um, they, our season hasn't been all sunshines and rainbows, but I just truly believe that they are going to peak at the right time, and I'm just hoping and praying that Summit is what it needs to be for them. And um, a lot of those kids I've seen grow up through the program, and I've cheered with, I've cheered with Justin and Tanaya, and so even seeing like the Kleps grow up through the program, I've seen Eva and Jaden and all those kids just
Mm.
grow up through the program, starting out like level 2, and now they're on a level 5 team. Like that has just been very heartwarming, and I just those kids are also just truly just heart, and yeah.
Man, you said so many names of athletes just now that have such they loom so largely in my heart.
Yes.
I mean, Hanaya was that athlete was one of the ones where it was the hardest to stop coaching because I knew that I was stopping coaching
Her
right
senior
before
year.
her senior year.
Yeah.
That was a really, really, really tough call. And I love every single athlete I've ever coached, every single one. And if you give me enough time, I could probably write all their names down. From every year, starting when I
Yeah, that's
coached
crazy.
the JV cheer team at Sultana High School in Hesperia, California. If you gave me enough time, I bet you I could write down every single athlete's name from that team to the last. And I love every single one of them, even the ones whose parents I may not have gotten along with.
Right.
I love their kiddos because at the end of the day, even the parents that I didn't get along with, we wanted the same thing. We wanted
Exactly.
your kid to have a great experience, to have a championship mindset, have a championship work ethic, and hopefully have a few championships to go along with that. That was what we wanted. And even like I said, the parents that I didn't get along with, like we had the same goal. We loved their kiddos, but yeah, I loved every single kid I've ever coached. But Hanaya is probably the closest to actually being like a child of mine, of
Yeah.
any kid, just because I coached her for so
Yeah.
long, for such a long time. I think probably the next closest would be Elizabeth Hussein. I coached her from, I think, 12. It was either 11 or 12 all the way till she graduated high school. So I coached
Yeah.
her for 7 years, but I coached Hanaya for either 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
That's the longest I've ever coached one person. It's like every team that they were on, I coached.
Yeah.
But yeah, all those athletes you mentioned, they loom so heavy in my heart. They loom so largely in my heart. I'm so grateful that that you are coaching them. I'm so grateful for the teams that they're on, for the experiences that they had this season. And I know second place is not first place.
No, it is
Second place,
not.
it's not first place. But I'm also the type of person, like, honest to goodness, I would rather get dead last than to know that I was this close. Do you know what I mean? Like, I really, really would. Because dead last, you're like, I never had a shot. Like, I didn't stand a chance, right? But when you're in second place, you're like, what could I have done? Could I have pointed a foot in a toe touch, right?
Yeah.
Like, what is that little detail? Like, where my hips just not facing. Oh, sensitive subject. Sorry, I won't.
Mm. Point zero five.
Bad example. Bad example. Bad example. But you get what I'm saying, And, even though second place is not first place, second place is better than third and fourth and fifth
Right.
and sixth, and
Right.
all those. And so it warms my heart genuinely again to know that you're coaching them, that they're on a great team, that they're getting great coaching and great leadership, and they're having a good season.
Yeah.
Being undefeated until NCA is a great season. Being undefeated until whatever, it's like that's a great season. And something that we definitely I need to give you your flowers on is that this is the first time in, I believe, 5 years, that every Ontario team that is eligible for Summit is going to Summit.
Yeah. This is the first time since the 17-18 season
Yeah.
that had happened. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 3 out of 6 of those are paid. So yeah.
That's outstanding.
Yeah.
Outstanding. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations to
Yeah.
you, to Gabby and Adrian and Haven, and I know I'm missing people, but congratulations to all the Ontario staff. Just chef's kiss.
Thank
Chef's
you.
kiss.
Yeah. We're excited.
And I can't wait. I really, really can't. And I wish I could stay. I'm going to Orlando for Worlds. But I'm flying home on Thursday. It's a lot tougher to go to a competition for 2 weeks, especially now that you're not coaching. And
Oh yeah, you don't
And
you
you
don't
get
get the hotel and
right, you don't get all that stuff paid for. And I got the kids at home, and so
Yeah.
I definitely want to go to Worlds. I don't know when this episode's going to air. It might air after Worlds. It might air before. I'm not entirely sure, but I am going there to watch Max Senior Stars and Stingray Electric win Worlds. That's
Period.
why I'm going. Period. End of story. So whenever this airs, just let the people know. I am going to Worlds to watch Max Senior Stars and
You're
Stingray
manifesting.
Electric
You're
win Worlds.
manifesting.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, and Cheer Force Infinity and Top Gun Guardians and Top Gun Lady Eve and Michigan Elite Co-Ed Crush. I'm now trying to list off all the teams that
All the world teams.
I'm literally trying to think of every single one. Prairie Fire Fever. What else? Infinite Athletic SWAT. I need to.
Mhm.
The guilt is overwhelming. He didn't say our team. But let's also be honest. There's only 3 people that watch these, so no one's probably gonna care. It's my
I
mom,
mean,
your mom. Speaking of which, please tell your mom I said hello.
I will. I will.
Yeah, your mom did a good job. Your mom did a good job with you.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah, she did. You're a very
I love
well-adjusted,
her. Yeah.
respectful young man who
Thank
has a
you.
good
Thank
work
you.
ethic, and you got a good head on your shoulders. And give your mother her credit.
Yeah, I love her. I know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Okay, so we know the teams that you're coaching. We know which ones are going to Summit, which is super exciting. And you guys have regional Summit upcoming this weekend, right?
This upcoming weekend, yeah.
As of this recording, like I said, I
Yeah.
don't know what date
Yeah.
this is going to air, but so this is new as far as regional summit being not in our region, right, which is
Not in
odd,
Anaheim.
right, and then B, it's also not online because it used to be when regional summit first started, and to date myself, it actually was not even called. It was before the summit even existed. There was a thing called the All Levels
Mm,
Championship, and it was the competition was held, I believe, in 5 or 6 locations across the country on separate weekends. And what happened was all of the routines were scored remotely. So, like, these events all happened over the course of, I believe, 2 or 3 weeks, and it was 5 or 6 events. And what happened was the judging panel got together remotely and judged all the teams based on just the videos. And I coached Excel with Jeff McQueen the inaugural
yes.
year, the first year that this thing ever existed. It was the summit before the summit, and
Got it.
our Excel, our large senior four. This was back when large was a thing for
Mm,
lower level
hmm.
teams, and you could have 36 athletes on the floor. So we had 36 level 4 athletes, and we
Hmm.
were the all level champions for the first year ever. But then it
Come on,
turned
all level.
into yeah. But then it turned into remote. I don't know if it was before COVID or because of COVID. But then they did the regional summit that was remote. Everything was done
Yeah.
video, and then it stayed like that for like a year or two, and then they started doing it in Anaheim, and now it's in Phoenix,
It's in
Arizona.
yeah, it's in Phoenix. The
Okay,
West one is in Phoenix.
got it. Okay, so now break down because this is all new for me. This is new, even just me not coaching. So now break that down for us. What is the regional summit, and what has it been like trying to prepare, getting ready for it, and how does that work?
Yeah. So none of my teams are going, but we have Sapphire, our youth one, and then our 2 prep teams. They're going, but the regional summit is basically like in each region. So like you have the West, I think you have the Northwest and the Southeast or whatever the region is. They um, you get a bid. I think you get a bid top any competition, any varsity event. You if you get top 3, you get a bid. Um, so yeah, that's crazy. And so yeah, that I think that's how it works. Could be wrong, could be right, but
Right on. And so
yeah,
it's just all basically the top 3 teams in every division are
yeah,
invited to this, and so you're still going against some really high level or
yes,
high talented teams that have done well in the competition season, and then so you have Sapphire and both prep teams
yeah.
that are going, and it's a 2-day event, or is it like do you have to make it to day 2 like the regular summit?
You don't have to make it, or you just
Oh,
qualify, right? Yeah,
wow.
yeah.
All right. All right. All right. That's cool. I'm very interested to see how that works out. And I wonder how many regions there are. Like I
I
wonder.
want to say like 6 or 7.
All right.
Could
All
be
right.
wrong.
Well, good luck to Sapphire. And what are the 2 prep teams' names?
Blackout and Starlight.
Blackout and Starlight. And that's coached. The prep teams are coached by Esty and
Andrea. Yeah.
Andrea. Let's go. Yo, we've had a Dre in Ontario for 10 years. That's pretty sick. Oh no, there was a year without. There was a year without an Andrea. There was or 2. I don't know, man. I don't know,
Time.
man. All
Time.
right. Well, I want to get in. I have one final thought that I'd like to turn into a question is what do you see yourself doing like 10 years from now? Are you still coaching cheerleading? Are you doing like put try to jump into a time machine? Like what? And here's a better way for me to phrase it. What is your hope for your cheerleading career? Like as your coaching resume, 10 years from now in 2032, what is it that you hope is said about you or that you've accomplished as a coach?
That's a good question. I just hope that my athletes that I have coached just truly can come to me for anything. Like when they're done with cheerleading, the same way I feel about you. Like I can go to you for anything. Um, So yeah, like once their senior year is over and they're done cheering, I just truly believe that I keep the relationships that I have with them now. Um, but as accomplishments, I do want to coach a world team one day, and I do want to, get that world championship title that I've been chasing for so long. And you know, it is what it is. But yeah, I obviously still want to continue summit teams. I love summit teams, but I don't see myself coaching a world team for another 5 years maybe. But yeah, and life in general, I'm done with school in December, so
Let's
I get my
go.
bachelor's in sociology in December. So hopefully I have a big boy job, something doing that. And so yeah, I do want to stay with cheerleading for as long as I can do it. And yeah,
Outstanding. I
yeah,
I love that your goals are, first of all, they're completely tangible and doable, and I
yes,
know that you know that, and I can see it, right. If I can see it, like I have a crystal ball. It's like, yeah, you're absolutely going to be coaching a world's team someday, and I hope with everything inside of me that you do get that world championship. It's such a cool thing. And I recently, I guess not recently, it was after NCA, but uh, Drew, who
yes,
I coached. I only got to coach him for 1 year, and in that 1 year, it was, in my opinion, one of the best teams, if not the best world's team I've ever coached, as far as like talent and athletes and just heart and camaraderie and all that. I mean, the team, the Memphis Elite Blue Crew, has stayed with me for a very, very long time, and it's where the name for Cali Blue Crew came from. It was like
yeah,
we finally had this group that reminded me of the best group that I've ever coached. But anyway, Drew, I coached him for 1 year, and I thought this could be a world champion team. We got third place at NCA with some big dogs. It was Brandon Senior Black and Smoed.
peace,
Just all. It's like those are your first and second. I
right,
believe. I believe it was Brandon in first that year, Smoed in second, and then us in third. And we had deductions. And we got third place at NCA, which is just
that's
insane.
crazy, yeah,
And especially when you're like competing against who. And
yeah,
this is during the Smoed 4P World Championships or whatever it was. Oh, these emojis. And like when Brandon and Smoed are going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, and then here we are, this, I don't want to say no name, but it's a no name team, in third place at NCAA. Anyways, I keep going on these tangents, but I coached Drew, and we didn't even make it to finals at Worlds. We had way too many mistakes. We were 11th, and they took 10. And it, of course, is so gut wrenching. But then, 10, I think it was 10 years to the day. I think it might have been 11, but 11 years after that team, 10 years, either way, a decade or more after coaching him on that team, he wins Worlds for the first time as a coach, and then the very next season wins NCA in a Worlds division, for the first time as a coach. And it's like so cool. Or maybe I have that backwards, but either way, you get what I'm saying.
yeah,
It was such a cool thing to see that. And, my post that I had made a while ago was like, I wasn't able to get him to the promised land, but to see him arrive there, it's like it just fills me with so much pride. And I felt the same way with you when Crystal won NCA. I'm like, dude, it's like I couldn't get you an NCAA championship. We didn't even go, to be fair, but like I couldn't get you an NCAA championship, but seeing you get one, it's like it just fills me with so much love because I know how special that is. I know what a great feeling that is. I also know what goes into it, and I know who you are. I know your character and what you put into it. So I'm just so proud of you. I'm so happy for you, and it's so cool. And I see you coaching a world's team. I see you getting that world championship, and I hope I'm around to see it too. I hope I'm around to get to see it. Really, really do.
I mean, you for sure, like even with, I'm sure Drew can say this too, but like you're the ones that got us there, and you got us to that point where we wanted to coach because we had a coach like you. And so I'm sure he can say that as well.
I appreciate that. That's very flat. I hope that I'm confident that you are a better coach than I ever could have been. And listen, I know my strengths. I know my weaknesses. I know that I was a good coach for, for most of the people that I coached. but I would also at least have the wisdom to know, it's like I wasn't everybody's cup of tea, and I think, I think it's a give and a take. And I think, I'm very flattered and honored and humbled that you would hold me in that regard that, but I think that you're going to be a much better coach than I ever could have been because you have strengths that I never could have. And they're going to help you and propel you farther than I could have ever gotten as a coach. And they're going to help all the athletes that are coached by you. I guarantee they know how you feel about them, how important they are to you. And, and I know not only they appreciate that, but I know their parents do too. It's something that I'm getting a tiny glimpse of now watching my son, do soccer and do t-ball and watching the coaches, because coaching that age group, it's a gift I've never possessed.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
But watching my son's t-ball coaches, like literally they'll get down on one knee, they'll talk to him, and I look at that and I'm like, man, that's such a special gift. It's to watch. And then the other cool side of it is watching my son respond to that, to another authority figure that's not me or his mom. And like, that makes me proud. I'm going to cry if I keep talking about it. But like, even at 4 years old, it's t-ball. He like doesn't even know how to hold the bat. Right. And I'm just so proud of the whole interaction, whole experience. And, I know you're doing that for athletes. And so I'm sure their parents are very grateful as well.
Thank
All right.
you.
I've talked way too much for something I'm supposed to be interviewing you. But the last thing I want to get into before we get out of here is I just want to open up the floor to you. Usually when I've done this with every interview I've done, just kind of open the floor to you. And I try not to give too much direction because I don't want you to like, well, he said this, so I'm going to do this. But I at least want to give you some direction so it's not aimless. When I open up the floor, kind of give your opportunity to give some sort of PSA, if there's something that's on your heart, it's close to the end of the season. So if there's a message you have for the athletes that you coach, the teams that you coach, if there's anything you want to say to your mom, to your parents, any of your old teammates, anything at all, anything to the industry in general, if you want to talk smack on judges or score sheets, whatever. There's been a lot of things that have gone on at this part. But again, I just want to give you the floor for the last few minutes. And if there's anything that's on your heart, anything that you want to say, to anybody out there, the floor is yours, sir.
All right. So I think I've been telling my teams this, so I'll relay it to anyone who's watching. But especially these last, couple weeks, we're getting down to the end of it. Whatever end of the season event, World Summit. But I've been telling my teams, or I tell them every time they compete, like, chase the feeling of knowing that you gave your all on the floor, because if you do that, then you're not going to think of the win. You're not going to think of the nerves that, come with performing. And if you chase that feeling of knowing that you're going to do your best, your absolute best, you're doing it for your teammates, you're doing it, I would say importantly for yourself, because at the end of the day, like, you're doing it because you love to do it. And just put all your heart and your passion into those routines. And especially like the people who, are seniors and it's their last time doing it, like, you don't know if you're going to ever perform again. And I think for me as an athlete, those last two worlds that I competed at when I was on Blue Crew my very last year, I didn't think I was going to be on Black Ops the next year. I just thought my cheerleading career was over. And so I remember, like, coming off the stage emotional because it was just my last time. And especially on ops, like, the feeling of just hearing that crowd just go crazy. And I'll always remember, like, the day one of Worlds, we were in the field house, and that was definitely my favorite arena to perform in, because you just hear everyone, you see everyone, like, all on the sides, you see your coaches right in front. But like, when you go on that stage, just walk around the floor and just take it all in, because you don't know when it's going to be over. And especially day one, you don't know if you're going to get a day two. So, but yeah, just chase the feeling of, I can do this. And the feeling of hitting routine goes far beyond wins. And, win or lose, like, you had the feeling that you wanted coming off the stage. So.
Outstanding. Great
Yeah.
advice from a very wise young man.
Thank you.
Noah, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you giving me an hour of your day in a random weekday. I know you got school and work and you're repping
Yeah.
up for all these end of season events, but I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. And don't ever forget that I believe in you.